Hi everyone and welcome back. Today I'm going to check this cute little gizmo which is called HiBy Digital M300 portable digital audio player, which goes for $199 for this unit or for $209 if you are getting these complimentary single driver IEMs which are made for this one. If it feels that HiBy Digital created a lifestyle product for casual music listening, for web browsing, games playing, for goofing around this Android operating system, then you are totally right. And since this is a lifestyle product, I will go much easier on you and I won't use hardcore audiophile terms, you have my word. So let's check it out. HiBy are focusing on providing hi-fi level portable digital audio players and also audiophile grade IEMs, but HiBy Digital are doing basically the same thing but at much lower price points, so having a much higher value at the same time. So if it feels that these are their first products and this is a new company, HiBy Digital, then you are totally right, these are their first two products. When I'm thinking about $199 portable digital audio players, I'm thinking about something very simple like Shanling M1S, like Fire M3K, which don't have an operating system and a decent CPU, but that is not really the case with M300 because this is basically a smartphone without the phone functionality. Design-wise, I actually like the shape of this unit. It reminds me a little bit about the iPod Touch. I had quite a few of those. It has a 4-inch touchscreen, and while this is not a huge screen, not very comfortable for web browsing or for movie watching, I believe it's good enough for a unit like this. We have a CNC machined aluminum on its sides, we have glass panels on its top and also glass on its back. This is matte glass in a way that should resist scratches and accidental drops. And if you want to fully protect this unit, you can get that silicone case, which is being sold for $5 as an extra accessory. The only plastic pieces that we'll find on this unit is actually on top, right here, and on the bottom, but those were mandatory for a stronger wireless connection. Moving on to controls, besides the usual on-off, volume up and down, next and previews, we also have a function button that lets you assign several functions, like starting its voice recorder, like flipping the screen, like locking the buttons, or like muting the speaker. Speaker, you say, yes, it has actually a speaker, so you can play a game or watch a movie without using IEMs or headphones, which is actually quite interesting. We have two microphones on the top, so you can record your voice in stereo, which is actually pretty nice. We have a USB Type-C on its back, used for charging, for data transfer, or for using this one as a USB DAC, another interesting feature. And also we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, so no balanced outputs, just a 3.5mm jack. What surprised me though is that we have the same Snapdragon 665 that can be found also on HiBy's flagship RS8 portable digital audio player, which is, by the way, by 16.5 times more expensive, but they will move the same because it's the same CPU. We have a newer Android 13 platform, which is an unlocked version of the Android, so you can install basically anything you want, from browsers, games, to streaming apps like Apple Music, Qobuz, Tidal, Spotify, Deezer, anything you want really. A lot of DAP manufacturers are still using Android 9 or Android 10, but that is not really the case with HiBy, so this is a lot more future-proof in a way. We have 3 gigs of RAM memory, so you cannot have way too many tabs opened in your Chrome browser, but it's good enough for a unit like this. We have 32 gigs of ROM memory where you can install all those apps, and if that is not enough for you, you can always slot in a micro SD card slot of up to 2 TB in size. I'm using a 256 gig card in here filled with lossless music, and it works just fine. As for wireless tech, we have the usual dual-band Wi-Fi, we have Bluetooth 5.0 that supports all those fancy codecs like LDAC and aptX. We also have an FM radio receiver, which is actually pretty interesting, and a voice recorder, which is something you don't see very often, especially on tiny devices like this one. Don't expect some power overwhelming action because we have just 100 milliwatts of power on tap, which is on average about 4 times the power of a regular smartphone or an iPod. So in truth, there is enough power on tap even for a few portable headphones, for example. Battery life sits at around 29 hours listening at medium volumes, and with display turned off, you can get a longer battery life with IEMs and a shorter one with desktop headphones, but you got to admit that an average of 29 hours is a very impressive number. I'm always cracking a smile when I start using this one because it's almost unbelievable how such a tiny unit is powered by an open Android platform that lets you do whatever I'm doing with my smartphone, except for making calls. Internet browsing is doable, the pages are loading fast enough. The only issue you might have is the on-screen keyboard, which might pose a problem if you have bigger hands. Still, I was able to browse my favorite websites without a problem. Just for fun, I loaded YouTube and started watching some videos, and I must say that at 720p resolution, the videos are not looking that bad. The sharpness is there, the brightness seems to be enough even in bright sunny days, and the contrast ratios weren't bad either. This is an edge-lit LCD screen, so please disregard those inky black levels of OLED screens. That isn't going to happen on the M300, but apart from that, you can definitely casually watch a few videos on the go if you want to save the battery of your smartphone. You can certainly install and fire up Netflix and HBO, but in truth, this display wasn't really made for movie watching. The same goes for games. Lighter titles that don't require lots of RAM memory and the newest CPUs will work just fine, but don't expect getting comfortable while playing a hardcore shooter or an RPG game, as we don't have fast response times nor massive screens to fully immerse yourself. However, a round of Angry Birds and some casual racing worked decent enough. What surprised me, however, was the quality of the internal microphones and of the recording format. Professional recorders are usually recording in a lossless wave format in 60-bit 44.1 kHz, and I was surprised to find these options available on the M300. We even have a noise reduction feature, and we can lower the sensitivity of the microphones so you can avoid clipping the sound in loud environments, getting a higher quality sound at the end of the day. While the M300 won't outperform a proper hi-fi recorder that uses much higher quality omnidirectional microphones, the M300 recorded my voice decent enough, and here are two samples with and without the noise reduction feature enabled. This is the sound of my voice with noise reduction, and this is the sound of my voice without noise reduction. The FM radio feature works as intended, and you can even scan for radio stations nearby, and there's a nifty feature letting you record the song playing and save it for later playback. I'm not a fan of radio myself, but if you like combining a small FM radio receiver with a connected portable music player, then the M300 looks like a pretty sweet deal. Now for the main gig, music playback. I used HiBy Music for offline music playback, and from the same app you can log into your Qobuz or Tidal accounts and stream music directly from it, but I like using the dedicated Qobuz and Tidal apps a little bit more, which worked flawless on the unit. M300 supports all possible lossless formats available, including DSD playback of up to DSD 256, so you can load PCMe and DSD files and listen to them without a problem. A low-powered Cirrus Logic DAC chip can be found inside, which on paper can provide a dynamic range of up to 130 dB, which is actually quite a lot. This DAC chip is also the headphone amplifier in here, so this is a 2-in-1 chip, and that's why we have such a long battery life of 29 hours, because that chip is not consuming so much power. After pairing it with a decent pair of IEMs, I can describe its sound as clean, as distortionless. I could discern every sound without too much trouble. The sound was easy on the ears, it was not emphasizing that treble. It didn't have any kind of sharpness in the treble. An audiophile will describe this one as musical, as easygoing, quite effortless sounding in a way, so it doesn't have any kind of listening fatigue, or it's not getting you tired after listening for hours and hours, you can do that on this one without a problem. Please don't expect some crazy levels of resolution, of layering, of soundstage, or some power overwhelming action, because that is not going to happen. It worked mainly with single driver and multi-driver IEMs, but not so much with planar IEMs or with desktop headphones. One last thing which impressed me even more was using wireless headphones with the M300. In my case, I was using these Edifier S3 Stax Spirit, which are using Odyssey planar drivers. Yes, you've heard that right. And since I was no longer using the DAC section and headphone amplifier section of the M300, I could go much louder volume-wise. So I was using the DAC section and headphone amplifier of these headphones. And since I was using that LDAC codec, I was basically squeezing maximum performance out of these headphones, which sounded really, really nice. This is probably what most of the people will be using with M300, and those are wireless headphones and true wireless IEMs, because we have some really nice codecs, we have a long battery life, we have a really good price point, so you can basically save the battery life of your smartphone while going outside for a walk, jogging, or for a workout. And in these cases, I believe M300 works actually very nice, since it has basically everything. We have a long battery life when using wireless headphones, it's pocketable enough, you can use any wireless streaming service, and most importantly, you don't need to use your phone while doing that, and this is the strongest skill of the M300 if you ask me. Wrapping up, this cool little gizmo offers too many features, and in many ways it's much smarter than any other DAP out there, especially those that I've tried. Sure enough, it's not really targeted towards audiophiles, so forget about extracting the last drop of information from your multi-thousand IEMs or driving some hard-to-drive planar headphones. That is not going to happen with this one. However, if you want a daily driver unit to be used with ultra-sensitive IEMs, with portable headphones, that offers an incredible feature set, including third-party app support, offline and online music playback, social media, internet browsing, and a sound recorder and radio receiver, only for 199 bucks. Seriously, I do believe that HiBy Digital M300 is a no-brainer unit. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!